Welcome to our Santa Cruz workshop. My name is Ari Levitt with RollUpTheRug.com, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Peggy, for inviting me down for doing this swing workshop that we did today. This is called Swinging Outside the Box, and the premise of this was that we're breaking out of 6-count rhythms and exploring other 4- and 8-count rhythms that we could add to our 6-count. And we spent a lot of time talking about the language of dance and lead and follow. So we started just realizing that, if I'm facing this way, that all of our dancing is simply shifting weight from one foot to the next. And we can do it in 4 counts. So I'm going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I had my rock step, that's in the 5, 6. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we mentioned the idea of where our axis or balance is. If I'm just shifting weight, I'm between the goalposts of my feet, balancing. If I'm doing a rock step, I'm pushing over that goalpost and falling off balance into the rock step. So that's how I lead myself, and that's how I will intentionally lead my partner. So with our partners, I could dance with Peggy here. We talked about, again, the frame. It's being very important that there's some leverage with my wrist being high up in the armpit. My fingers can fold around my partner's scapula, but I don't need to have them there. It's all about leverage with my wrist. Follows, and you want to make sure that your elbow is below the lead's arm, and you can just fold your hand up on top. You don't want to be doing ballroom positions where your elbow's up and I have nothing to pull against. Right? So it's nice and relaxed. It's comfortable, hanging your hand out the car window kind of feel, and don't clench or play the bagpipes while we're dancing. Good. And I can just basically take my partner and I could do the 1, 2, 3, 4 by keeping my weight in between the brackets of my feet. Or I could push over those brackets and rock into my basic 6-count swing step. Someone had asked, when does this lead take place? It doesn't take place as we're floating to the side and then pulling my partner. It takes place as I'm on this side of the spectrum and I'm pushing myself over that balance point. So we're floating into the rock step, not being pulled into the rock step. So here's my 4 count with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, change up the 6 count, 1, pull, 3, and rock step. Once we're in a move, if I let go of my partner, we're staying in that move. That was the last thing I led, so that's the thing we do, until I lead the move out of it. So I could be doing all this stuff together, bum, 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 boom. Now to lead out of it, I go very quiet, right? I want to make sure my partner's weight is brought back to the center. Now if I let go, that's what we're doing. Until I lead something out of it. And there, so we let that go, good. Excellent. So we played with going from slow consecutive movements into a basic 6-count, and then we went into consecutive rock steps, the consecutive fast movements. So I'm going slow and rock. Here's my basic 6-count. I'm going to keep my weight posted with my right foot as I basically keep my solid center here, and I'm letting my partner naturally bounce forward and back, and the way I'm doing this is locking my hand in place. I'm not drifting with her, drifting back. I'm locking my hand, so I have my hand on this invisible pole, and our bodies are sort of moving away from that. My partner's tricep will bounce against my hand, I'll push it back, and then she will do a rock step. So if you're looking at this hand here, and we're doing just the rock steps, boom, the hand stays in place. She's pulled against the hand. Her bone body's pulling her away from me, and I'm just stopping her and bouncing her back. The second I relax and go back into my slow step, then I'm into my basic. So I could do my ba-doom, ba-doom. This hand also could be very powerful. I'm keeping it as a wall. She's bouncing against me, right? So my hands are still in place until I relax, get them out of it, go slow. So we talked about even doing this in other dances. If I'm doing, forward and back, there's the stop, boom, stop, and boom, stop, and boom, until I move out of it. And so boom, and doom, and walk out of it. It's all the same language. We then added on a different variation in the second half of the class, and this had to do with the variation on the cross-step waltz, which comes from tango, or some people said ochos. And I'm going to start with my weight on my left foot as a lead, just for the exercise, and go check, replace, crossover. Check, replace, crossover, or quick, quick, slow, quick, quick, slow. Again, my hips are rotating, right, to make it much easier. Quick, quick, slow, good. So that's the feel of it. When we're doing it with a partner, it's up to me, the lead, to shape my partner's shoulders to invite my partner's hips to move in the right direction. So here's our hands in this neutral position between us. Here's my hands moving across that neutral to shape my partner's hips. So if you're doing a swivel, my partner will feel the swivel here. Follows you are doing the power steering, meaning you are moving your own hips away from me, and the more you do that, the less I have to actually move my hands. So here Peggy is doing, she's feeling me lead, but she's actually doing all the work on her side by basically swiveling, and I can feel her swivel. So not popping and letting go, I'm letting her swivel and push against me, boom and boom. If it's in this position, it's the same thing. There's a little swivel, I pull back, swivel forward, pull back. So my hands, if we aren't as finessed as we are, and we're a little more big movement, my hands are going across the line and then pull toward my shoulder. So you see my left hand goes to her shoulder and my shoulder, right? Now if we're doing this in these steps, when we're doing the quick, I'm a neutral, and the slow is when I make that change. So it's quick, there I'm opening my partner up, my hand is on this side of her. Back to neutral, quick on this side. Notice my hand is pulled all the way to my shoulder because I'm inviting my partner to move. Neutral on her side, past the neutral on my side. Quick, slow, quick, slow. So this angle shows there's a lot going on here as we're redirecting. To come out of it, we simply exit when it's our natural East Coast swing 6-count move, which is on the lead's left and follows right. So if we're going with a quick, slow, my left foot is free now, I just fall out on my East Coast swing and I'm good to go. Boom and rock. To get into it, we could start from the 4-count or the 6-count swing. And the way we got into it was the way I just showed you we started. My weight's on my left foot. Right? I do check, replace, and cross. Check, replace, and cross. I also combine a little bit of the technique we did with this consecutive rock stepping. I want to check my partner's weight and redirect rather than let my partner drift entirely onto one foot. So if we're doing this from a slow position, I'm not going to let my partner go all the way back to their left foot. I'm going to stop, check, and redirect. And there's a fair amount of energy I'm moving through my arm to redirect and stop. If I'm doing it from a 6-count position, it's still the same point, but it feels different because I move 6 counts. Rock, step, here's my slow. Now I'll do it. It's slow, check, and cross, check, and cross, check, and cross, and slow, and rock. Slow, check, and cross, check, and cross, check, and cross. So the idea is that we have lots of options. We're just playing around there a little bit with some, with me being stationary, and I can still lead my partner through it. But lots of ways of mixing this up and playing together. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you.